I can't start this episode and this interview yet, Tommy, without mentioning the Duke Blue Devils.
We need to. All right, so it was rocky for a little bit. You were there, obviously, for the last UNC game,
and the Virginia Tech ACC
and you were there for the Virginia Tech game, and you know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but a lot of Duke fans kind of lost faith, you know, going into the tournament.
I was disappointed in both those games, and it wasn't the result. It was what I perceived as letting go of the rope late in the game. In winnable games where they got down 5-6 points with, you know, 4 or 5 minutes left, and they just let go of the rope. They had 2 games this tournament: the game to go into the Sweet 16 in the second round against Michigan State, and the Sweet 16 game to go to the Elite Eight against Texas Tech. Very similar games to those Virginia Tech and UNC games where they're down 5 points, 4 minutes on the clock, and you just saw great execution, great heart, stepping up to the moment. Paolo was great, Jeremy Roach was great, Trevor Keels had some great moments, Mark Williams, who I keep talking about Mark, I'm such a fan of, with some big moments. Wendell Moore with some big moments. Like, this team is clicking and playing their best at the right time. And the basketball gods, here, I said this yesterday on ESPN, we are either living in a simulation or the basketball gods are real, that we get a Duke UNC matchup in the Final Four in Coach K's last year. I'm excited. I'm excited for the game.
It's like a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask about some of the guys in the team in particular. You've obviously been in this spot. What does it say with how young these guys are, with them being able to execute like this down the stretch? Is that something that you're surprised by at all? Is there something about them in particular? You know them a little bit. There's something about them in particular that has allowed them to sort of play beyond their age?
That's a good question. Coach is big on growth, and I've seen this team grow up, and he's talked about this a bunch. This team has definitely grown up throughout the season, and there were moments prior to the UNC game, there were moments prior to the Virginia Tech game where he talked about that growth, and that team was already there, and I think that's why those losses were so disappointing, because we had seen that growth. We had seen them win some big games on the road. Obviously, earlier in the season, we saw them beat Gonzaga in Vegas. So this team has it. It's just, it has always been a matter of having it at the biggest moments, and they've had that so far in the tournament. Before we get to Joel, I just want to say one thing to all Duke fans, because there was a lot of noise after we lost to the Virginia Tech game that I shouldn't go to games because we had lost against Miami in the regular season when I was there. We lost the UNC game. We lost the Virginia Tech game. I just want to say, me being in the building has absolutely nothing to fucking do with whether Duke wins or loses. I was in the building in 2010 when we beat Butler for the national championship.
So you were in the building for a lot of Duke wins.
Yeah, go and kick fucking rocks. I'm going on Saturday.
New Orleans is going to be crazy. I think one thing, before we get to Joe, that we should say, we were talking about this the other day on the train, UNC is really good too. UNC is not an 8 seed. And that's what makes it so exciting objectively for the non-Duke, non-UNC crowd who don't necessarily care as much about the history, is this is going to be a really good basketball game. Because if you've watched UNC dismantle everybody in their path in this tournament, I mean, I don't want to
Baylor, really good team.
Yeah,
UCLA,
the seedings or anything
really
like
good
that.
Team. Yeah.
But they're one of the best. They deserve to be in the Final Four. They're one of the best teams in the country, and so it's just gonna be crazy. Just being there is gonna be obviously insane. But even for everyone watching at home, it's like we're lucky to get this, because I don't know that we're gonna have anything at the stakes, moving forward.
Absolutely. And my observation when I was at the UNC game in Cameron a few weeks ago was just that team is really good, and they got pros on their team. Obviously, they got some older guys like Brady Manick who have taken advantage of this new sort of 5th year of eligibility rule. But they've got pros on their team, and I went on a rant yesterday, and I'll say this again. The selection committee decided that top to bottom, the ACC was not a strong conference this year. And they punished two really good basketball teams in UNC and Miami by giving them the 8 seed and the 10 seed, respectively. Neither of those teams were an 8 seed or a 10 seed. They were the second and third place team in a Power 5 conference against a Duke team that was great all season. There's no way those teams should have been 8 and 10 seeds. And look, ACC, shitty conference this year. That was the narrative. 3 of the 8 teams in the Elite 8 were ACC teams. 2 of the 4 are ACC teams in the Final Four. So kick rocks. All right.